because it can't just all be about the numbers, because the numbers just prompt us to ask the questions. You now also have to go deep into the test to figure out, well, which part of the standards was this question really asking, and where were my students going wrong? So you'll be going back and forth between diag and test. So Mark sent you an email with the links to the diag, so you have whatever diagnostic test you were working on. So if you printed it out because you really wanted a printed copy, you have that. If you're good just with the computer copy on your laptop or your tablet, whatever, that's great too. Whatever makes you happy, you have that. You'll go back and forth between those two, and we have some guiding questions, and then Mark's going to walk through which report he's going to bring up for you.
Okay, welcome back. So as Diana described, the activity for you guys today, the challenge, the work is to really understand the standard, get into the item, right? And so I want to pose this challenge to you, right? If all we do is look at standards and look at data, right, we're missing the point that Diana was making earlier, that the actual point of error for an individual student and what to reteach is more nuanced than that. And what we're asking our teachers to do is really kind of this analysis, because the reports can't do it all, right? So for you as instructional leaders, it's important for you to have this experience, build it up as a team, so when you're going in, whoever's going in to coach PLCs, or if you're modeling, or if you're walking into classrooms, these are the kinds of things that you're looking for. We're building the muscle as instructional leaders. I was having a conversation 10 years ago. This was not the role of the principal, right? Today it is. It's knowing the standards, and it's knowing it well enough, right, that you can coach against it. And that's your challenge today. So on this particular slide that's in your deck, there are links to the student item analysis report. Those links will take you to Unify into the student item analysis, and I'll just illustrate a couple of things, because what we're asking you to do is first start with the test. But the item that you select, you might want to select an item that the students or a group of students, your low 25, found particularly challenging, right? Earlier, I told you that our reporting systems are set up to mirror the blueprint of the test. This should not be new. So you can see that the standards are identified. I can narrow or filter by standard. If this happens to be the standard, I can simply select that 5. It will narrow to those 5 items for that standard. You can see the students did actually pretty well on that standard. As I come down, now I've narrowed it to those 5 standards. I get a student listing, and I can hover here, and I can see that this particular item is DOK1, DOK1, DOK1. Right? So the students are doing pretty well on this standard, but these are DOK1 items, right? So the other thing that we can do is filter on depth of knowledge. I think I need to clear a filter here. So I'll just clear that filter, and we'll look at some DOK2 or DOK3 items here. So I'll come down, select depth of knowledge. You can see we said 80% of the test is DOK2. This is showing me I have 23 items that are DOK2. I have 7 that are DOK3, and you can see the students struggle a little more proportionally. So let's identify those 7 items that are DOK3. So for you, this is just your process of identifying an item, right? Looking at data. But then the most important part is, once I've narrowed, is going in. So this is a DOK3 item. I'll select it, and now it's going to show me the passage. And it's going to show me answer choices. But the thing that I want to point out to you at the bottom of this is a distractor analysis. So over the last 2 summers, Carla Kendall, Christine Gainwell, under Dr. McKeever's leadership, have led this work. We use teachers throughout the district. There is a distractor rationale at the bottom of every item for every diagnostic question, whether it's science, math, civics, or language arts. So if you know the correct answer, and it will be indicated here, right, you can see D is the correct answer. You can look for the point of error or the misconceptions and the opportunities to reteach. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'll just scroll back up and close this item, okay? So there are a lot of different ways that you can go about. Paula Joseph and her team of EDW specialists are in the room, right? So I'm going to take us back for just a moment. There are also a couple of videos, and we do PD year-round on using these reports. In the handouts part of our folder, you have an activity. I'll show it to you now. That looks like this, identifying the test, the item that students struggled with, and some questions just to kind of guide you through the process. So that is in the handouts folder.
Inside the paper copies that you have on the folder that you got when you signed in today, that's the one on the white piece of paper.
Thank you,
the very
Diane.
first page.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go back to the activity because you have roughly an hour to go through this process with your team, with support. So if you're in the room to support Diana's team, my team, will you please raise your hands? So if it's using a report, if it's looking at the standard, understanding an item, we're here to help, okay? All right, any questions before we begin the activity? All right, I don't think we have an hour, maybe less than that, yeah. But go ahead, Diana. Diana, anything else?
Here are the questions that you really want to use to guide yourself as you're walking through the data and the questions. You really want to pair in on the question, figure out what it was the standard, figure out where the students went wrong. Was it an aspect of the standard? Was it the type of question that was asked? Was it the text itself, the genre of the text, the complexity of the text? Really kind of focus in on where your students are struggling.
Okay, thank you.